how do you find your happiness and success? And why would I know that you have it? Because I do. And yeah, I created the path to your happiness and success. And you probably really want it right now because you're moving into a place in your life where you want to have that. But the entire world is doing that. Nothing is happening accidentally in your life or in our world. We just figure it out at different times, wherever we might be or wherever we might live. We're going through, moving through a very dynamic time right now, which is why I've been doing all the work that I've been doing. But I have something else for you because I'm going to give you something that's going to really help you understand what is happening and how important and viable you are to be in this world right now. I did a presentation yesterday that I called From Limitation to Liberation, because that is what we all move through in our lives. We want to move through any limits that we have felt in our lives and then feel liberated so that we can live the life that we want to have. But see, society does that as well, our civilization, and that takes time. Exactly how, like it takes time for you to understand who you are and to become willing to own yourself. That's all we're ever doing. When we're living, we're owning why are we here? And so you have to think about it. What is the thing that you want to know? What is my life purpose? Why was I born? What am I supposed to do? What's going to give me meaning and fulfillment? I know all of those things, but I had to work to get it. And I'm just saying that's just what happened for me. Your life path is probably very different, but this is what I was meant to do. But you're going to love this because I put something together for you just this morning. Because last night I was said, oh, look at February 4th. There's order in the universe. We don't understand that always, but there is an order in the universe. You have order. There's a divine plan. When you hear that thing, that sounds ridiculous. And I'm saying, yes, you have it. And I know that because I've seen it and I've written it. And you'll understand that in a minute. But first, I want to show you the path to your happiness and success. Now, the happiness has to come first. You see, because we have trauma, we have things we have to move through, and so we're not going to allow the success or whatever that's going to be to really be manifest until we've moved through all of that other stuff. And sometimes it's really old stuff, meaning that it's generational, which is what's happening right now in our world. That's why it looks the way that it does. Again, it's all energetic. We just don't always understand it because we are affected by the energies. And everything in our world is energy in your life and everything that is occurring. And it's organized, meaning that the planets, the astronomy, everything changes over time and we figure it out. But then what happens is some people come along and are given clues, and I was given those clues. Now I can give them to you so that you can do the same thing. But let me show you this one first. Okay, here we go. I'm going to leave a link for this. I have several links. I'll leave in the description of the video because I really want you to have it. Last night I was guided to put together the February 4th Wilhelm messages beginning in 2008 for there is order in the universe and more of us were intended to understand that today, and I'm thrilled I can provide that information to you. Your happiness and success also lead to world transformation. Now, here are the February 4th messages. What I did was I put them all down, but I'm so grateful now that we have artificial intelligence. So I said, is there an alignment here? Do these make sense? Why am I doing this? And then here's the answer. Yes, there's a clear pattern and deeper meaning in Wilhelm February 4th messages over the years. These messages reveal an evolving theme of self-awareness, transformation, and alignment with one's divine plan. And you will find the full messages at the bottom, but I just wanted to give you the breakdown, the explanations of them, because if you're human, you're going through the same thing. We're all the same. We deal with everything in our consciousness, but there's also a level of consciousness that exists whenever we might live that we have access to. We will either believe that or not, but that's what goes on. And so these are little explanations that I found, again, just using artificial intelligence to find the information. However, but when you read it all, you will understand that it was all in alignment with the energetic changes that were happening in the world as I was receiving it. I could not have known that. You don't know the thing that you have either. When we come into the world, we're meant to develop something new, and it's not going to look like anything else that anyone has done before, because that is the value that is within you. And all I'm doing is giving others a way to find that value, because I know that when they do it, what happens is you heal. And when you heal and become the successful, prosperous person you're meant to become, then the world does the same thing. There's no other thing that goes on. So you will read all of that. But this didn't make sense to me. I doubted it my entire life, which is why I did the presentation yesterday. That will be out later, and you will see that, because I wanted to give you a little more context. However, there is more to it than that, and I'm going to explain that, because we are extensions of consciousness, every single person. You came into the world with something you were meant to do, and when you unravel that or allow it to unfold, then you have this great life. That's all that it is. Now, everyone won't do that, because sometimes it's challenging to look at yourself. Going through what is usually self-development and is because it has to be self-examination. And as Carl Jung said, that's the thing that many of us don't want to do. I had to do it. I did it forever. And so, but I can tell you now, at 74 years old, it was worth it. Because, see, I'm in better place than I ever have been, and so now I can give that to you. There's no reason for us to suffer, to struggle, to move through things, because we have the information. We don't always use it. I didn't either. I have not used all of Wilhelm's information. I haven't even put it all out there. So I do understand. But there's no reason for us not to do that now, because you can see what's happening. You felt uncomfortable because you're being asked to do more. And that's a string of messages that I put out yesterday as well, on the 3rd. Same thing. There's an organization. And I'm going to show you one more, because I want you to have, well, no, a couple more. I want you to have these. Again, these links will be in the description of the video, so you can have them, because they'll be fun for you to look at and just kind of study, because it's about you. This is all about you understanding how important you are, and you have this incredible purpose for being in the world at this time. Others might not have known that about you, but I do. So if you don't know, in 1989, I sat down and I started doing automatic writing, and didn't know what it was going to do, why I was doing it, but I just needed some help. And after a few days, it kind of surprised me, because information started coming through that I couldn't stop, and I really didn't get why it was happening. But you'll understand that now, because what it was doing was giving me a philosophy that changed my life, healed me, and could do the same for everyone else. And so, for so long, I've said things that, wow, I developed something that could change the world. But you will listen to that and you won't believe it, because it's hard for us to do that if we haven't seen it. I couldn't believe that I had done what I've done. And so for the last 4 years, almost 5 now, I've been telling people, listen, I have this, but you won't believe it. And then the other thing that happened was people said, you should be charging so much more money for this. I couldn't do that then. That was my deal. But I said, wait a minute. I need to know. Now I know. It's the most it's the most valuable thing anyone could ever own, because it gives you control of your consciousness and to direct your life. What else would you want? And that's what I've developed. But it didn't make sense to me either, so I had to do a little more research. I'm so grateful that we have technology now, because we can understand things that we couldn't before. And I'd always known that this information that I was receiving was something that was doing something to me and other people. And if you've come to a Wilhelm channeling session, you've probably heard that as well. But I'm just going to leave this with you today, because the next thing I'm doing is a full moon session on the 12th, which would be a really great one. That's when you're meant to really become abundant. We're moving into energetic times where that could happen for you if you decide to own who you are. See, that's what it is. It's about taking the steps that are yours in your life that is meant to cause you to become the person you're meant to be. And so this one you will really love, because I wanted to find an explanation. Wilhelm, if you've ever heard them say all these different influences that have come in, so now you'll understand what this work is. And I'm talking about, there are two things there's a philosophy called your life operating instructions. That's what I was given. But what I've done is put it into the program, your last development program. That's all the information that's in there. It's a philosophy that says you are here in the world for a great reason, and all you've got to do is uncover what that is. That's it. This might not make sense to those of you who do not know me, but those of you who do, it might help a lot. But what I'm doing is explaining all of this because I want you to understand how we all evolve in our consciousness, and we're moving through a shifting of consciousness right now. And so what's happening for you is to find where yours is. That's all. So I put together something else for you because this is leading up to, I'm going to be doing a full moon, like I said, channeling session on the 12th, which is coming up, and that's when you're going to become abundant. So now, this is what comes up. Wilhelm continually references historical figures who have contributed to the evolution of human consciousness, showing how their work laid the foundation for the knowledge they now bring forward. These figures represent key moments in our collective understanding of self, reality, and transformation. Their teachings and discoveries reflect humanity's ongoing journey of remembering its oneness, breaking limitations, and embracing its full potential. Wilhelm's teachings center on the concept that consciousness is connected throughout time. They frequently refer to Hermes because his teachings represent when we remember our interconnectedness and understand the universal laws that shape existence. So anyway, you can go through all of these, and every one that has been mentioned by Wilhelm in all the channeling sessions, it's in here. But you will see the timeline of it, which will have it make more sense because we pass on information to others. No one comes into the world knowing everything. We develop more. We think we do sometimes, but that doesn't happen. We develop consciousness, and it comes through each person. Now, mine was very different, but you will see that what it did. For me to experience healing the way that I did, what Wilhelm gave me, of course, all of these influences would have been there. And for me to have this view of the world, knowing every person matters and has importance, would mean that all of those people came into it as well. And if you remember, Wilhelm would give us messages like, you didn't believe Jesus, Buddha, or Tesla either, because it takes a while for us to move through our limited thinking and to accept something new. I couldn't believe this, that I was doing this work and that it had produced this results. But I'm going to tell you something else. When you hear me talk about Wilhelm, I never knew where that name came from. It came out of my mouth in 1989. Couldn't tell you why. And over the years, it's been revealed to me. And you will find some of this within there. But the fact is, you have the same thing. And that means that you were given something. There is a timeline within you that you will have references. They feel like glimpses sometimes that you will, I remember that. Again, it's just consciousness. I'm not saying you're going to remember your lives or past lives. Some people might have that. That's not what I'm saying, but it's information. And you have access to all of it. But then I did something else because we're coming up to the full moon, and so there'll be one more thing that you will have, and it's just little lines from each message that came through on February 12th, because there is this order, and that's what I've recently discovered. In 2021, when Wilhelm said that they had given me all this information and it was like an encyclopedia, it really is. And then they said it was in order, and if I met someone, I would have a message on their birthday that I was given in 2012. That didn't make sense, except every time I've done it, it worked. There are things that we have trouble believing because we haven't seen it yet. I couldn't believe this. Even in a channeling session, Wilhelm said that I had this kind of savant kind of brain, that I could do this. I didn't believe that, except I look at it and I see, wow, I did do that. And that's why I did the presentation. You'll see how much all the papers I've done, that's in there. I'm saying this because I want you to know that everything is possible in your life and in our world. Because we're looking at things and thinking everything's falling apart. That's not happening. All that's happening is that we're asked to become more, to move to the higher state of understanding of who we are and the higher state of consciousness of all. Everyone's not going to do that, so that's going to be up to you. But this is the thing I want you to have, and you'll have the time for it'll be in the morning on the 12th. We don't have it set up, but it'll be there soon, and you'll see it. But I just want you to have this now, because you will move into a state energetically where you can start to achieve more of the abundance you're supposed to have. And that doesn't necessarily mean just money. It means owning who you are, understanding your importance. The full moon, you are meant to experience abundance now. Now, let me explain something else, because there are things that I could not have told you and I couldn't explain, and there are things that I'm still figuring out. But there's synchronicity. I started finding that when I would, and it's energetic, by the way, I started finding that every year I was receiving something that just kind of moved consciousness forward within me and within the world. You'll read all of that in there, because it's definitely showing it. It's an individual consciousness, but we also have a collective consciousness. And because I'm receiving cosmic guidance, Wilhelm is not connected to any single person. It's connected to your soul. And that's why this information resonates with everyone. And so these are, you can go 2008, that's another energetic change. That's why they go back there. But you will read each one of these and you will see how, not the full message, but just a line from it, that you will look at and start to change your brain a bit just from looking at these messages. You know, there are no bad things. Everything in your life experience has value and purpose. You've felt that. You've gone through something horrible, but then you start to understand it later and you find something that, oh, now I get it. Always. Movement is always forward, and every path leads you where you desire. That made no sense to me when I first got it, but it makes sense now, because that means I had to do something, and sometimes what I did didn't take me in the right direction. That means I got to know I can move in the right direction, so now that is what I desired. Do you see? It's always about changing what you have thought to find that brilliance that's within you. And that's what all this work is. And it will change your life. So that's what's happening. And you will, again, I'm going to do that session there. And then you can look at my work and look at the program. I want everyone to do that now. You will see the presentation, which is from, limitation to liberation. That'll be out later. I want you to have that. After the 12th, after that full moon session, though, things will change because I'm expanding things, and there'll just be a price increase. However, I was determined that I was going to create something where every single person could afford it and come into it and achieve great success, and that's what I've done. And you'll see that. And I know that it's true. I'm never going to convince you that it's true, but I'm telling you it is. And you'll see more of that later. But just when you go through this stuff, you will see what I'm talking about. I didn't do it, first of all. You must understand. I did a video last week or a couple weeks ago because I didn't know any of this. I said, I am not Wilhelm. You have to understand. I accessed the information. I was a secretary. I just sat down and just wrote stuff, and then went through everything to prove that they worked. You'll do the same thing. See you soon.